Nobody asked, but we give you our opinions. Acknowledge us like Roman Reigns to all his minions. Coming from the grave like our name was Undertaker. Women's wrestling is cool, but where the hell is Britt Baker? Coherence takes abandon all hope. We talk shit like Ricochet from the top rope. We are marks, sometimes we're friendly. Sometimes we show our whole ass like Mandy. We are make discussing what is the latest. Jericho is the GOAT, but Sid is our favorite. We are marks. We are marks.
What's going on, Marks? Welcome back to the podcast, the We Are Marks podcast. Why? Because we are Marks. I'm your host. My name is Ram. Rob and Bob, what's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, America?
How's everybody doing out there?
You know, a little lackluster, if I'm honest. And this is probably just from wrestling, which this is a wrestling podcast. So I guess that's the opinion we're looking for. It was a lackluster week, to say the least. Nothing more lackluster. And you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of Darby Allin. I'm not sure any of us are big fans of Darby Allin, but they announced a coffin match between him and Gabe Kidd. And just in my opinion, I mean, something like a coffin match deserves more respect than what the hell we were given on this show. It started off very stupid. Gabe Kidd said, "Meet me in the parking lot." And Darby Allin got there the way you're supposed to get to a parking lot, in a car. And he hit Gabe Kidd. They threw him in a trunk, took him out, wrecked the car. A whole bunch of absolute nonsense bullshit. These two are doing a lot, man. They're doing a whole lot. And I'm not sure why. It was very unnecessary. They finally got back to the arena. And the hope is once they got back to the arena, the crowd would be really into it. Unfortunately for Gabe Kidd and old Mr. Darby Allin, these two got as far as to, I mean, they were both bleeding. They both cut themselves open. They're doing a whole bunch of crazy nonsense, just insane things for absolutely no reason on this episode of Dynamite. And the crowd was more silent than I've ever heard a wrestling crowd in my entire life. So not only were these two going insane and doing dumb things for absolutely no reason, the crowd didn't give two shits. Neither did I, and neither did Tony Schiavone. This is the shit that I'm talking about, where, you know, something like this, like a coffin match, where you're going to do a bunch of crazy shit for absolutely no reason, just repeatedly, it doesn't add anything to the show. This did not add, in fact, this is the part of the show that if somebody was sitting next to me who doesn't watch wrestling, they would be like, what in the hell am I watching? Because it was ridiculous. And I know, guys, tell me, I can't be the only one who feels this way.
No, you said it from the start. I think this match was the start of a week of not reading the room when it comes to professional wrestling. That's how I felt watching all three shows. And this was the start of it. The car crash to begin with, you know, you pointed out Schiavone. I thought his line was the most enjoyable part of the whole thing when he said, "This is a nutty way to start." And then the car flip and all he says, "Well, it just got a little nuttier." And Gabe Kidd comes out, he's dead. But I mean, if you're really watching and you're thinking real life, he might be dead. And then they just keep going and going and going. They get back in the ring, like you pointed out. They just start wrestling after you've seen that. And not even just what you saw in this match. We just got through Max and Hangman at this point 3 days ago, which was supposed to be this big bloodbath world title match. And we're just doing something very similar. I don't care what you call the match. They're hardcore matches. You're doing it again. You had another one on the show with Mina and Marina, thank you. And it's just it was overload. And you know, at the end of it, Darby saying he wants Max, and obviously the crowd doesn't react. How are they supposed to react after watching, you know, the Roadrunner get hit by the anvil again, and they just kind of groan. They don't boo or cheer, and that's how I thought. All I thought when he said that is, what the fuck did I do to deserve him now getting a world championship match against Max? And we're probably going to have to see another one of these death matches if he actually gets to that point. Yeah, that was brutal.
And okay, here's the thing. We talked about this offline, and I said the car crash to start it. I was like, whatever. And then Gabe Kidd got put in a straitjacket, and I was completely turned off. I actually didn't finish the match. But here's my thing. Darby Allin is the face. He put the heel in a straitjacket and started beating the crap out of him. How am I not supposed to sit there and cheer for the heel? Like, am I supposed to get behind Darby Allin for incapacitating a guy where he can't fight back? Like,
then he started to.
And that's the thing. So when Gabe Kidd mounts his babyface comeback, I'm like, all right, Gabe, come on, let's do this. That's not the reaction they should be getting. I should be rooting for Darby Allin, should I not? The whole thing was pointless.
At this point, I'm not sure if they want us to cheer for Darby Allin. I'm not sure what he's trying to accomplish by doing the things that he does. And now it seems like Gabe Kidd is all I've seen of Gabe Kidd is this same kind of bullshit. That's all I've seen of him. So how am I supposed to, as somebody who doesn't know Gabe Kidd from Adam before he got to, and I don't mean Adam Copeland, someone who doesn't know Gabe Kidd from Adam coming, since other than when he was in AEW, this is all I've seen of the guy. And I'm being told he's this killer, but I'm watching him. I mean, even though this match was absolutely ridiculous and nonsense, I've only watched him lose. I've only watched this guy lose.
To Darby Allin.
And in dumb matches. That's all I've seen.
Darby Allin. That's it's been a 6-month feud with Darby Allin. This started at the War Games. They don't call it War Games, I know. What do they call it, Bob? I'm drawing a blank.
Blood and Guts.
Blood and Guts. This started at Blood and Guts in November. This has been a 6-month feud. And it just got more and more ridiculous. We joked about him injecting somebody with like some substance with a needle. I think it might end up there. Like, he might just start shooting people with fentanyl or something.
He is just gonna overdose people.
Yeah.
That's actually one thing I thought. And this is going to come across as a joke, but at what point in a backstage segment does Darby get shot in the safest part of the body to get shot by a gun? And somehow he'll come back and start fighting again. When does it end?
And it was on a Dynamite after a pay-per-view. Like, for what? The crowd did not care whatsoever at all.
Yeah, and I heard people bitching about the crowd during this show, but no, the show they put out there was not a show that people should have been reacting differently to. If they would have put on, Max versus Swerve for the title and these people didn't care, I'd say, okay, it was a bad crowd. When you're giving us Darby Allin in cartoon wrestling, it's not going to get a good reaction.
Well, in customary AEW form, we tend to really hate their weekly programming and enjoy their pay-per-views. So we do spend the majority of our time when we talk about AEW bitching about it. And let me tell you, I wrote down 5 talking points for this show, and 4 of them I did not like. Well, and one of them I was just kind of like, meh. So we'll get into more of it. The next one is Ospreay and Jon Moxley. And again, we talked about it last week. I understand why Will Ospreay came back and went after Moxley. I understand that completely. But how long ago was this that we were talking about how somehow, some way, Jon Moxley got himself over as a babyface? I don't even understand how it happened. And then just last week, out of my mouth was, this guy should be the world champion. He's so over. He's just does incredible work all the time. And Ospreay comes back, and it's like we are just reverting back to before that ever happened, when Jon Moxley was a heel, and Jon Moxley's just being a heel. and I don't understand it. And we'll get into it with WWE too, because they have done something similar with a certain Uso. But irregardless of that, I mean, obviously no wrestling company is innocent of doing dumb shit. But, you had this opportunity now with Jon Moxley to build him up to the point where we want him to be in the world championship picture again after months of being like, get this guy a vacation, please get him off the TV. And he just immediately went back once Ospreay came back to doing the shit he was doing before, saying the shit he was saying before. It's a little frustrating.
Yeah, I agree. Also, from the Osprey standpoint, there's a lot of time before All In, assuming that's the direction. And I think a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Osprey in the main event. He's got to be in the main event. He's got to be in the main event." I don't like the way they've handled it. He showed up. I thought there should have been a better build to getting Osprey back on television than one vignette, and he shows up, and then everyone has to remember the Moxley side, that Moxley did take him out. We also were cheering for Moxley, and now he's a heel again, to Ram's point. And, to put him on this match, you didn't even know the match was going to happen. Maybe they announced it on Twitter 10 minutes before Dynamite started. And then he's on in this back and forth match to a degree with a guy that is never on Dynamite. I don't even remember his name, Alan Eagles or something. It's just, I don't know. I think the Osprey, yes, we know he's a great wrestler. He may be the best wrestler in the world, but you got to get more if it's going to lead to what everyone wants it to lead to.
His name was Blake Christian, and you put some respect on his name. All right. Let me tell you, Blake Christian will be a world. No, he won't.
Well, he looks like a skinny Will Ospreay, honestly.
Blake Christian is a good wrestler. I'll give him that. I like Blake Christian, but he's not world championship material. I don't understand why we did this. I get why we want to have a match with Jon Moxley. And if they would have sat there and Will Ospreay still pissed off, you took 6 months away from him, all that, I get that. But Moxley didn't have to go back to what Jon Moxley was. Moxley could be like, hey, I know what I did in the past was messed up. You want your pound of flesh? Come get it. That's all you had to do. Not what he's doing now. I don't want to boo Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley is AEW. He is the guy. Like, we can sit here and say whatever you want. Jon Moxley could be world champion, a face world champion, kind of like Stone Cold. Was he a badass? Yeah. Did we all love it? Absolutely. But no, you had to go back and be Jon Moxley from 2023 that nobody liked. And I just don't understand why we did that.
Yeah, and from the other standpoint with this Continental Championship, Ospreay winning it would probably be good, but at the same time, Jon Moxley has done, I feel like, a pretty good job of making that belt, which was, held hostage by Okada for so long, into probably the number 2 champ, pretty solidly, I would say, the TNT title or whatever, but I would say it's probably as best of a position as that championship's been in. And I don't know if I would just put it in a position where Moxley needs to lose it when it's been going well.
And that's the thing too. How am I supposed to boo Jon Moxley when week in, week out, he's either having an eliminator match or he's defending the title? Like, am I supposed to boo this guy all of a sudden?
Yeah.
And not winning in disrespectful ways. I mean, he just beat Takeshita.
Yeah, clean the whistle. Which, if I'm honest, if this was the direction they were going to go, they should have just put the title on Takeshita. Yeah, he should have won. I don't, because now it feels to me like essentially Jon Moxley wasted Takeshita. He's wasted. He's out of the picture. I mean, he can't even win the Continental Championship. He's not even in the Continental Championship picture. And I mean, in my opinion, I assume you guys feel similarly. Takeshita should be elevated, not pushed back down. So instead of it being a stepping stone moment with a Continental Championship, and you can't tell me he wouldn't have bangers also. I know Moxley's doing great for the title, but I can't help but feel like Takeshita would do the same thing. So it's a little frustrating as a fan of Takeshita that it just kind of felt like he was discarded And, essentially he lost his feud with Moxley so that Ospreay could come back and win the Continental Championship. But I don't feel like the Continental Championship is a title Will Ospreay needs to win. I don't think that's something that needs to happen.
No, he
No,
doesn't.
and on the Takeshita side of it, if the story is that Takeshita is the guy in the Don Callis family losing, or at least losing the most, if we go another 5 months of him losing before he finally gets the big win against Okada at All In, or maybe next year's All In at the speed that some of these stories are going, he's going to be viewed as a loser if we get all the way to that point and it keeps happening. I mean, I said it about McIntyre. I've said it about other guys. You beat them down, you keep beating them down, all of a sudden the fans view these people in that spot that they're just a loser. And, I think they need to speed this up a hell of a lot faster than they move a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I believe if you look at the win-loss record, because Okada doesn't win a lot of matches, like he doesn't have a lot of singles matches, but even his tag matches and his trio matches, he doesn't really win a lot. Takeshi's on almost every week wrestling.
Well, Okada doesn't wrestle a lot.
But that's what I'm saying. And when he does, he loses.
Yeah, it's tough to get behind somebody when you just assume they're going to lose, which kind of tends to happen. Like we talk about the Kevin Owens role, and it's an ongoing kind of gag, but it's serious because he's a guy that they put into big programs constantly, and then he just loses them. And it feels like that way with Takeshita, and it gets hard to really get excited for something when you assume the guy you want to win is going to lose. And when you say, Bob, that he seems like the guy in the Don Callis family who loses, and it just, for record's sake, I mean, there's 10, 12 people in the Don Callis family, and they are all losers. So to say Takeshita is the loser in the group, that's saying a lot.
That's true.
That is saying a lot.
It's true.
When you got a group that has Josh Alexander and Lance Archer in it, and you have Takeshita losing constantly, there's something wrong there.
Yeah, it's an odd decision. It's a very odd decision. Speaking of odd decisions, and maybe I'm the only one really feeling this way, but we went into this last pay-per-view where Marina Shafir, we already talked about the results of this match, where Marina Shafir was in this spot with Toni Storm, and I said, I feel like Marina might need to win this or she can't continue to play the character that she's playing. And then she lost that match. And then she shows up this week. And no, Ronda Rousey was not on the show. But she has a match with Mina Shirakawa, who I had seen do nothing but lose. Nothing but lose. Another person who has done nothing but lose on AEW TV. And Marina Shafir loses again. How can she continue to play this character, to be essentially an enforcer for Jon Moxley? How could she possibly continue to do that when she can't even beat Mina Shirakawa, who loses to everybody?
Why Mina won that match made no sense to me. Obviously, the lead up, the bill of the match was supposed to be Toni Storm. We don't know what's going on there other than the fact Toni Storm is speculated to not be around until sometime next year, which is, potentially good for her, I guess, depending on what you believe in the speculation, but obviously pretty brutal for the AEW women's division when you consider after the pay-per-view, we had been talking about the difficulty of, at least I was saying about how hard it is to have these matches matter. But yeah, Mina getting put in that match, winning. And then, I believe she's got a title match tonight against Tekla. So
Mina Shirakawa does?
Yeah. So we might be talking
the fuck out
next
of here,
week about the 2-week rise of Mina Shirakawa, AEW Women's World Champion.
I love Mina Shirakawa. I have a very soft spot for Mina Shirakawa. I enjoy her very much. She always loses and has no business being in a title match with Tekla tonight. You know what the AEW women's division needs? It needs a doctor. Where the hell is Britt Baker? You know what's actually going to be the result of this, though? The Mercedes Moné storyline is going to get accelerated. She's going to come back sooner than she was intended to, and they're pretty much going to kibosh the whole mental breakdown angle, and she's going to win the title sooner rather than later.
Right,
Well,
but who's she going to face?
Tekla
Or Chris Statlander? And we talked about last week.
Dead. You can't put Statlander back in. She lost, and then she lost 2 out of 3.
Who else is there?
She's done, man.
But again, who else is there?
Willow,
Athena.
That's not
again. Athena's
Where is
another
Athena?
one. Listen,
Bring
Athena's
her
another
up.
one. You remember when she had that match? I'm pretty sure it's with Mercedes, right?
I believe, yeah.
On an AEW pay-per-view. And we were both like, God, I hope she wins the title so they just keep her on AEW. And she lost, of course, and we haven't seen her again. It's crazy.
That we talked last week about how it was Mercedes, Toni Storm, and the rest. Toni Storm is gone. Mercedes hasn't been around forever. You have the rest now. And to Ram's point, Marina Shafir losing to Mira Shirakawa on a whim. Like, if you knew Toni Storm's not going to be around for a while, why did Marina Shafir lose that match?
Maybe Mina
baffles me.
Shirakawa is going to just take over the Toni Storm role. Yeah. Mina Storm.
I would rather have Chris Statlander do it than Mina Shirakawa. Now, with that being said, Ram's right. They're bringing back Mercedes Moné. I could see Shirakawa beating Thekla, but here's the problem with that. In the last 6 months, you are now going to have 4 different people with the AEW title. 4. Like, how are you supposed to build anything around that?
Well, they want to popcorn it around a little bit before Mercedes wins it and keeps it for 2 years.
And isn't on TV.
She's going to have a Roman Reigns schedule with the title.
I mean, I know we've joked about it, but to Ram's point, I just think whatever the issue is with Britt Baker, you got to let bygones be bygones. I'm not saying she's a super national star, but her coming back would add juice to this division, even if it's just in the short term because of her being gone for so long. And it's the type of thing they need. So whoever's back there doesn't like her, I don't know. You gotta move on.
She's an AEW original that everyone knows their name.
She has a presence. She has a presence that the division does not have right now. And like, you can go back and listen to this podcast. I was never a great big fan of the Dr. Britt Baker. In fact, if you go back, you'll probably hear me say that she should stop wrestling because she stinks. But she has a presence that the AEW women's division needs right now. The AEW women's division has gotten to the point where I'm saying it needs Britt Baker. It needs Britt Baker. Bring her back.
Even though it would ruin our theme song, they need somebody.
Well, then we'll just change it to Toni Storm.
That doesn't rhyme.
I can change the lyrics.
Undertaker, Toni Storm.
I'll change the lyrics. I'm trying to think of lyrics off the top of my head. It's tough to do. I'm not Eminem. I can't just. I'm also not Harry Mack. I can't just pop it off the top of my head. No,
not
free
much
plugs.
Rhymes with Storm, by the way.
Porn.
That still doesn't rhyme technically.
Form.
There you go.
Shorm. All right, guys. I got another thing that didn't make a ton of sense to me. Maybe you guys have a different view on it. Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland. They're gonna fight for the number 1 contendership, and genuinely, sure, that makes sense. That is 2 people who could be the number 1 contender, even though Kenny Omega has wrestled twice, and I think he lost both times. Regardless of that, it's Kenny Omega, so that's fine. He can be in a number 1 contenders match. But what I found a little weird is that Kenny Omega got up there on the screen, and he announced that Swerve Strickland was the number 1 contender. And Swerve seemed to have no idea he was the number 1 contender. He seemed genuinely like shocked and that news was just broken to him. And I found that weird because we didn't know Swerve was the number one contender either. So we found out the same way. It just seemed like how you say poor writing, maybe.
Yeah, I was shaking my head at first when I thought you were not doing the segment justice because Swerve, unbeknownst to him, he was the number one contender for the world title. And, going back, it probably would have been a cool thing to say when Swerve was facing Brody King. Maybe make that a number one contenders match, put a little more meaning behind otherwise singles match that we saw on the pay-per-view. But yeah, and the other aspect too is now we're getting Kenny and Swerve, and it's for the number one contendership. It's also for Kenny's EVP spot, which we're throwing that around again. And if you do recall, at All In, when Will Ospreay challenged the Bucks for their EVP spot, Swerve Strickland's response was, "Why the hell would I want that?" And it just became that the Bucks wouldn't be the EVP. So maybe they can write that off as now Swerve's a heel and his attitude has changed, but he did once upon a time have a shot at an EVP and did not want it. So
great point. Points, Bob.
I am going to defend everything that happened here, even though it probably wasn't supposed to happen. So the reason that Kenny Omega knew that Swerve was the number one contender, but nobody else did, is because Kenny Omega's an EVP. So I will give them credit for probably not even thinking about that. Okay. Two. Swerve said it in his promo. Now that he's a bad guy, do you know what he wants more than anything? Power. And that's why he wants Kenny Omega's EVP spot. He wants power. So I will defend AEW on this one. Kenny Omega knew because he's an EVP and he makes those decisions, and he probably made Swerve the number one contender so he could challenge for it. And two, Swerve wants that EVP status because he wants power.
Okay, so first of all, your explanation told me that Kenny Omega is abusing his power as an EVP to make Swerve the number one contender so that he can challenge him for the number one contender. Okay.
Don't poke holes in my story. I thought it was good.
Second thing, though, just kayfabe wise, would an EVP make that decision?
I don't know what an EVP does, Ram. Do I look like an EVP?
Well, that would just be business deals, I would imagine, which would not include booking the show.
Yeah, but if it's a business decision to have Swerve in the main event because that's the headline, so it sells tickets.
Okay, well, I officially want Swerve to win because it sounds to me like Kenny Omega is abusing his power as an EVP. So
I'm just saying,
I don't think he's gonna win.
You think Swerve's gonna win?
You don't think Swerve's gonna win?
No, I think Kenny's gonna win.
That would make a ton of sense.
Doesn't win,
it would not. Considering Swerve just won the title of most dangerous man in AEW, let's definitely have him lose his next match. That's smart.
Well, I'm just thinking
it would be very AEW like though.
Good storytelling.
I would not have booked this match. I'm just thinking the show is in Canada. Swerve versus Max seems like a very weird match to do. So I'm just thinking Kenny's going to win. But I would have probably, if that was the end goal, just made Kenny Omega the number one contender, but I don't know.
Okay. Well,
I don't know.
I got one more thing for AEW, and it does have quite a bit to do with Canada. CNC, guys, I'm gonna say something. Rob, I know, and I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I don't really want to see them wrestle either. I couldn't stand Copeland by himself. Couldn't stand him. Hated his promos. I hated his in-ring work. There was nothing enjoyable to me about Adam Copeland in the ring in AEW. However, I do love Christian Cage. I loved Christian Cage by himself. I loved him in a group. I love that his Titantron now says all of the things and then ends with asshole. Oh
Love
God,
it.
do I love it.
I
The
do.
dynamic between the two of them is so goddamn fun. It is so fun. I'm enjoying it very much. As much as I don't want to see them wrestle, I don't mind seeing them in segments on Dynamite. I enjoyed so much, and it's 100% because of Christian, but also because of, uh, but also because of Edge. You know what I mean? Just because the way Edge is as a human being, as a person, as a personality, as a character on the show, reacting to the way Christian acts as a person, a character, a personality on the show is so brilliant because Christian will just kind of say things like, the tickets go on sale on Friday and buy the close up ones so you
Yeah,
can see
yeah.
me up close. And Copeland just kind of looks at him like, okay, you know, and it's just, I find it so goddamn entertaining. I love the two of them together. It was a smart move to do so. If you were going to have Copeland on the show, the smartest thing you could do would be to team him up with this egomaniac Christian.
Yeah, no, they work really well off each other. I mean, obviously, it's been about 30 years that they've been doing it together, if not longer, and they were friends forever. Christian's great. I
He's
mean,
so
he is
good, dude.
he's great. And it's the unfortunate part of the idea that this is the end because I don't want Christian to go away. I love the Titantron, like you said. I thought that was brilliant, changing father to asshole and having all the
Yes.
characteristics. He plays so great off of it. I mean, you talk about the dynamic of like wrestling versus character. I'm not sure how the wrestling's going to be, but character, these guys are a 10 for sure.
Christian is
I
divorced now. He could totally be a manager after Copeland's done.
A heel
I
commentator. That's what I'm thinking.
Sure.
I never said that I did not like Coping Christian. I just never want to see him wrestle. That was. Do you guys remember the show Edge and Christian where they basically did skits? The freaking hilarious. Them two together are great. I do
Yeah.
not want to see them wrestle. I sure as hell do not want to see them in a ladder match. Even Copeland himself said, "Yeah, if you want me to retire the next day," and it might happen. I just don't want to see Adam Copeland die because he might.
Yeah, for sure.
He's held together by duct tape and prayers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to see that either. And I honestly, the more I think about it, I don't think that, maybe for their last match, but granted, the amount of damage they've already done to their bodies, I don't think that they would risk doing something else like that. By the way, the ENC show that totally reeks of awesomeness. Awesome. They also used to do a podcast, which is one of my favorite wrestling podcasts, and they should bring that back. That would be cool. But again, the two of these two guys together, and I know they're like brothers, they like grew up together or whatever. It's just so fucking fun. So
Yeah, definitely.
I just wanted to give them a little bit of flowers because there has been a lot of bitching about Copeland specifically over the last 2 years or so, or probably longer. Probably since he came back at the Royal Rumble. Probably everything after that.
Do you know it'd be great if they were the commentators on Collision?
That would be awesome. That would be sick.
I would
that
watch
would
more
make me
Collision
watch
if they were the commentators.
That would make
It'd
me
be
watch
like those Muppets guys that's on the balcony just making fun of everything.
That'd be good.
I think, especially Christian, I've thought wrestling needs a heel commentator. I think he would be perfect in that role. But, the one thing I wanted to say about the idea of them winning the tag team titles or being in the tag team division is I do think with AEW, this is the type of stuff they need. They need it with the women's division. They need it with tag team division. You need to have that star team. And I know they have the Bucks and FTR, but if they lost the title or wrestling some of these newer, younger teams and try to get them elevated up the ladder more.
Side note here, because he just popped into my mind. Where's Nick Wayne? Is he still on the roster?
Well, he got hurt, right?
Renee asked Christian. He said he did not care and that Nick Wayne was dead to him. and he's no longer his father.
Yeah, remember he had he was supposed to be in a match, and then we saw him in a video package. He had he broke his foot or something.
Yeah, he broke his
right.
something.
That was like a year ago, though. That's okay.
Well, he's also going through a growth spurt right now. So,
was the last time we saw him last All In when they turned on Christian and Copeland saved him?
Now that you guys mentioned it, it was right after that.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe a month or two.
Oh yeah, because it was going to be Christian and Cope against those guys, and then it turned into
I think
Sabian or Sabian.
I think they turned on him, and then the next episode of Dynamite, I think, is the last time we saw him.
Yeah, because it was going to be Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne against Christian and Cope, and then it became Kip Sabian for some reason.
That was that All In. That was, I mean, how long does a broken finger takes a year and a half? So,
well, if it's about to fall off, I guess.
Meanwhile, Will Ospreay's coming back 6 months from a broken neck.
I won the Continental Championship with a broken freaking neck.
There you
go. All right, let's move over and talk about some WWE. Although, as all the things that I have written down, I'm not really sure which of them is worth talking about. But I'm going to run down the list. You guys can tell me. Guys, Damian Priest and R-Truth are the new tag team champions. We have gone through months and months and months and months and months and months and months of the MFTs and the Wyatt Six feuding over the tag team championships. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was very stupid that R-Truth and Damian Priest became the number one contenders. After they won the tag team championships, I came around to the idea that this is actually a smart idea to reset the championships. To reset them. Now they can be in a multi-team match at WrestleMania. The team that you're going to have going into the future next year, post WrestleMania, wins the titles at WrestleMania. Priest and R-Truth, maybe R-Truth's retiring, honestly. But I think this was a good way to reset the championships because they have been so... The MFTs and the Wyatt Six have been feuding over the championships, but the real feud has been about a lantern. So the tag team titles were secondary in a feud we don't care about to a lantern. So I think this was a good way, and R-Truth is a crowd favorite. I think it's cool that R-Truth got the pin for the win. I think it's a good way to reset the championships. Am I crazy for that?
Maybe. All I could think watching that match was, Jesus, 6 days ago I watched FTR in the Bucks, and now I'm watching this tag team match.
For real.
Yeah, the tag team division right now is really weird. The Machine Guns are somehow involved in Johnny Gargano's sleeping deal. So I don't know. I don't really know what team is the one to do that, but I do think that Truth and Priest could be a transitional team to try to elevate somebody.
I'm sorry, I got to cut in.
I'm not even going to say anything about this, Ram. Go ahead, talk about it.
I have to cut in. I was going to bring him up last. I think the Johnny Gargano storyline is very fun and brilliant. I think it has been very good. I don't know if you guys saw that he won a number one contender match on NXT. Candice LeRae, this is so real life. I'm sorry. Guys, hear me out. This is so real life. Because the story of Johnny, essentially, he's not sleeping per se. He's incredibly depressed. That's what's happening. And his wife is busting her ass to bring him back to life. And it is so real and brilliant. And it is going so unnoticed by so many people because it's only really happening in passing. But I am watching a man who's going through the hardest time of his entire life. His best friend left him, didn't even tell him he was going. He has no direction in life. He's not sure what he's doing. He feels hopeless. And his wife is showing him that he is Johnny fucking Wrestling.
Yeah, so I do actually I agree. I think the Gargano and Candice are doing a great job, and the storyline is interesting. I'm just not sure the machine guns fit in to this, and then she was helping them out. So Johnny kind
So
of needs a tag team partner to get into this, unless they're going to create trios championships.
honest to God, I mean, back to what Ram said, Motor City Machine Guns should win that whatever multi-man tag match. As far as Johnny Gargano goes, I was one of those guys who didn't fully comprehend because I'm only seeing clips of him like sleepwalking and stuff like that. And then when I realized, one, it's kind of cool that they put the Tommaso Ciampa leaving into a storyline. Very rare do you see that happen. So I thought that was kind of cool. And two, Candice LeRae becoming a face through all of this, trying to get Johnny back to where he is. It's not the most interesting thing, but I am enjoying it. It's kind of like it's almost like Danhausen, almost wrestling style that, it's a little funny, but at the same time, there's like truth behind it. People do not give it as much credit as it should. I think this is great.
It's real.
She's great.
Yeah,
It's a real thing.
that's what I'm saying.
It's a real thing.
Johnny's good, but Candice is great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can't say they should do more there because they're doing a lot right now in the storyline, but damn, I don't know why they haven't been doing things with
Not
her
only
because
that,
she's very good.
this is the most storyline driven that these two have ever had. Like, this is something they can actually sink their teeth into other than just being bodies in matches.
Yeah, I mean, since NXT, since The Way.
Right. That's, yeah. What's
So
NXT?
is he the number one contender for the NXT championship now?
Yeah. He should win it too.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Joe Hendry?
Did you guys see it? Did you see it, Bob?
I saw him win.
I saw the ending, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I watched like the highlights of the match. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. So thank you for bringing up Johnny Gargano. All right, guys. Jade Cargill has a couple of stooges, and ironically, it's the two stooges who hated her guts. Not maybe a month ago. Maybe a month ago, they were telling Jade that she ain't the hot shit she thinks she is or whatever, and now B-Fab and Michin are Jade Cargill's stooges. I think good idea, wrong people.
Yeah, I mean, wrong people for sure. It feels like another attempt, which seems to be one of the themes of WrestleMania, is just how many people we can get on this show. I guess they're probably going to come out with Jade.
Maybe.
Fine. I guess we'll get probably a Michin and B-Fab match against Rhea Ripley maybe in the next couple weeks.
Can't wait to see it.
They'll be hanging from the rafters for that one. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it may help. At the end of the day, what's going to matter is going to be the match, because if the match sucks, then that's really what this whole deal is going to come down to.
This made absolutely zero positive sense. You have a woman who says she's the women champion because she's the baddest bitch out there. She goes around beating everybody up, and she got two goons to help beat up Rhea Ripley for reasons. Not to mention that those two literally got their asses kicked by her for about a month now, right?
Yeah. That's what
Like,
I was thinking. I was thinking, like, wouldn't it have been a good spot for like Jada Parker to come up or something?
I was thinking Fatal Attraction. Izzy Damian, Helen Fenley? Like,
Yeah, I don't think that
something.
fits with Jade.
Jada Parker would have worked. Shit. I would have even taken Nia Jackson, Lash Legend. That would have made more sense.
Yeah, that wouldn't work either.
But nothing works because Jade Cargill has alienated herself from the whole locker room in kayfabe and real life, apparently. And all of a sudden, Michin and B-Fab are like, all right, cool. We'll help you for no reason.
I love.
We don't like Rhea either, so we'll beat her up for you. You want to know what it is? Maybe it's like this. So Jade Cargill is just a big bully, right? And she's going around stealing lunch money and giving wedgies and stuff like that. So instead of sitting there and having her forced to take it, you just start doing the bully's homework and shit like that. So you don't have to get wedgies anymore.
Did you? I can't imagine that this is going to make television, but did you see Mitchen's explanation was she hates Rhea because Rhea and the Judgment Day turned on AJ Styles.
Oh yeah,
which
AJ Styles
had to have been 2 or 3 years ago.
AJ Styles,
So
the Judgment Day turned on AJ Styles.
Or beat him up. Not turn.
Beat up AJ. That's why we're mad, because the Judgment Day beat up AJ Styles.
That was her explanation. Well, I can't imagine that makes television.
That's worse than Will Ospreay being mad at John Moxley still.
Well, she was good. She was good friends with AJ Styles. Okay. But Number still. One, I absolutely love that you guys call her Mitchin. I don't know why. I love that you're both calling her Mitchin. Rob was calling her Mitchin. Now Bob's calling her Mitchin. I might start calling her Mitchin too. Bitchin' Mitchin.
Bitchin' Mitchin. I love it.
Bitchin' Mitchin. Big fan of that. Yeah. I think it makes total sense for Jade Cargill to have goons. That makes 100% total sense. I just don't think these were the right goons. I think it would have been a good opportunity. Again, I said Jada Parker. I think she would have been a good, believable person to bring up from NXT to put into that position. Elektra Lopez, maybe. Like, there's some badass women down there that would have made sense to put them in that position and bring them up to the main roster. They decided to go with Bitchin' Mitchin and B-Fab, who somehow it has managed to be the last member of, what was that group called? Top Dollar and Kimchi or Ashanti the Adonis. What were they called? Hit row.
Every time she's on TV, I'm like, how do you still have a job? I don't get it.
I think it's just because she's an athletic female. I mean, that's the only thing she has going for her.
For times like these.
I don't really see her wrestle ever.
Is she more athletic than Bitchin' Mitchin? Yeah.
The only match of hers I can remember is when she wrestled Charlotte, and Charlotte just completely did not want to seem to play ball. And
yeah. All right. Well, we're going down the list of this is how little intrigue there was in WWE this week. We on my list bears mentioning the Jelly Roll Kit Wilson segment. Rob rolls his eyes. I love that. I fucking loved the Kit Wilson part of it. I thought it was so funny. And then Jelly Roll just started saying things about Kit Wilson's mom sucking his dick and stuff. And I was like, I mean, that's not working for me, brother. I mean, Kit Wilson was like saying some pretty clever lines. And I don't know if he wrote those lines. I just want to believe Kit Wilson wrote those lines. But the Jelly Roll part of it was just kind of like, number one, NSFW, am I right? There's kids in the audience, Jelly. You're supposed to be inspirational. But we have gotten to this point with WWE. And we have gotten to this point, I'm going to tie this into another point that I wanted to bring up. We are in this point in WWE right now where Jelly Roll and Kit Wilson are having a slam poetry battle. And Gunther hasn't been on Monday Night Raw in 3 weeks. Gunther, who retired John Cena, retired Goldberg, retired AJ Styles, has not been on Monday Night Raw in 3 weeks. And we are watching Kit Wilson and Jelly Roll have a slam poetry battle. That's crazy.
I'm starting to feel vindicated that I said John Cena should have won that match. Well, the Jelly Roll on the show was interesting because he was involved, obviously, in two very different situations. But yeah, I agree. In this one, Kit Wilson, I thought was a lot better than Jelly Roll, who I don't listen to his music. I believe he's a musician. You would think he would be able to be a professional wrestler in a poetry battle, but no. Kit Wilson won. The fans were behind him. potentially another read the room situation. Kicks his ass, and the fans were cheering him on. So I
They
guess
ha-
they're going to wrestle next week.
they have a match this Friday on SmackDown. You know what I think this is going to? I think this is going to be Jelly Roll and Danhausen versus Kit Wilson and The Miz at WrestleMania. I have this weird feeling that Jelly Roll and Danhausen are going to be a tag team against Kit Wilson. Maybe not The Miz, but somebody. Either that or I Show Speed showed up on Monday Night Raw and he's cursed. Maybe I Show Speed and Kit Wilson against Jelly Roll and Danhausen. I don't know. I
I'm
do know
starting to
that.
think there might be a different celebrity wrestling at WrestleMania now that he's wrestling on Friday. I did not expect him to wrestle on SmackDown.
I
No,
I
think
didn't
this,
know that. I thought this was going to be a WrestleMania match. I
No,
thought it
I
was going to
think
be
this ends in a
one-on-one Jelly Roll and Kit Wilson.
I think this engine is schmoz. I think Jelly Roll offends another heel, and The Miz would be perfect for it because The Miz would come out and beat up Jelly Roll during this match. Danhausen would curse The Miz, and we have our WrestleMania match. Like, I feel like this is where we're going. With that being said, like Kit Wilson, we wanted to get behind Kit Wilson. And I feel like the more we get behind this, the more they just try to bury him, and it's not working. Like Bob said, read the room. Read the damn room. Let us cheer Kit Wilson. Let him be that smirky ass heel that we all want him to be. Let us wear our toxic shirts.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Kit Wilson. I don't view it as a burial. I think this is his role. I don't expect him to ever win. Like, he might accidentally win the U.S. title at some point in his career, but I don't expect him to really to be anything else. I just want him to be on the show. And like I said, like, I very much enjoyed the Kit Wilson part of this. I didn't really understand the celebrity babyface Jelly Roll talking about fucking his mom. I thought that was odd. I thought that was extremely odd. But I enjoyed the Kit Wilson part of it. And if I get 5 minutes of Kit Wilson telling me why this guy is toxic, whoever this guy may be on that particular show, I'm all in for that.
Okay. Did you guys see Kit Wilson posted? He texted his dad and was like, "Don't let mom watch SmackDown
tonight." Oh, that's a hoot. Kit Wilson is a fucking hoot, man. I'm very much enjoying that. We got to talk about some more relevant things, though, I guess. So Paul Heyman called out Seth Rollins, and he was setting a trap. And we all know it was a trap, of course, but I guess I assumed the trap was somebody to attack Seth Rollins, but no. Fuck around, restraining order. Paul Heyman had a restraining order against Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is now arrested. He's in jail, so I don't.
Yeah, I thought.
Hold on. Correct me if I'm wrong. We are 3 Saturdays away from WrestleMania.
Yes,
we are 3 Saturdays away from WrestleMania, and this is an example of something. I don't even know if Seth Rollins is going to be available to wrestle at WrestleMania right now. I have absolutely no idea. They just arrested him, I assume, because he's still not cleared to wrestle. So I don't know the direction for that. I don't know the direction for Gunther 3 weeks from WrestleMania. I don't know the direction for Io Sky heading into WrestleMania. And these are people who, you know, it's 2026. 2025 was built around these people. It was built around these people, and I don't know their direction for WrestleMania 3 weeks out. It is a weird year this year, in my opinion, for WrestleMania. And maybe I'm crazy, and maybe I'm like having like maybe I'm misremembering WrestleMania of the past, but it never really felt to me so much like selling a poster. And it's something that we've been going on about for the last several weeks, but it's never felt so much like selling a poster before, ever, in my life of watching wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about the tickets and some of that stuff. I'm not even sure what you're going to see right now. I have absolutely no idea who Gunther's going to face. He's been off the show for 3 weeks, and we're 3 weeks away from WrestleMania. The last thing he was doing was messing around with Dragon Lee, so you kind of thought that was going to be Rey Mysterio, but that hasn't really materialized. As far as the Seth Rollins Paul Heyman segment, you know, last Monday was the 25-year anniversary of WWE purchasing WCW, and I thought that this segment was a very good way to honor WCW. It made no sense. Heyman came out there. He lures Seth Rollins in to tell him a restraining order that no one knew about. The police just show up. No one has any idea why. He gets arrested and then taken to the back. It starts getting taken to the back. He punches him. He gets arrested again. I mean, another one when you talk about the commentary where Cole said that was an interesting segment. I thought the same thing, and it still didn't lead to a match. I was thinking maybe Braun Breaker was going to come out and spear him or something, but it doesn't. Neither of them, I guess we just don't know. And we're just going to sit here and have these weird Paul Heyman segments every week that just kind of keep spinning in circles.
Yeah, I'm expecting Seth Rollins to break the restraining order, and instead of cops, he's going to get ripped in half within the next 2 weeks. Yeah, I hate the fake restraining order thing. It drives me insane. Okay. I always hated it. Oh, we're wrestling. We're in wrestling. We fight. Nope, I'm getting a restraining order on you. That's ridiculous to me. So I gave them the benefit of the doubt because the Elimination Chamber was so early this year compared to how late WrestleMania was. And I said, give them time and they'll figure it out. I don't feel like they figured it out because guess what? We are now 3 weeks away from WrestleMania. I think we know 5 matches, maybe 5. Sounds about right. That's it. There is no build whatsoever.
Let's count them out. Punk and Roman, Orton and Cody, Becky and AJ.
The 2 women's titles.
The 2 women's titles.
Yeah, Liv and Stephanie.
Liv and Steph, Rhea and
Right.
Jade.
So we're at 5. We have 2 nights of WrestleMania. We got 5 matches. We got 7, 8 per night. We have 5 matches.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can assume we're gonna get the Vision and the Usos again, maybe.
I don't even know if
they're
we're getting
wrestling.
that.
They're wrestling
true.
on Monday.
Yeah,
they're
they
wrestling
are.
on Monday for the title, and I expect the Vision's probably going to win.
Because guess what? Jey Uso's doing like a pseudo heel thing right now, and I don't know what's going on there either. No idea.
Yeah,
I
good
don't think the
segue.
Usos is wrestling in a title match at WrestleMania.
Good segue, because let's get into that. Jey Uso's another one, just like I was talking about Moxley earlier, who was starting to do a thing that made us go like, okay, I can get behind this a little bit, where he's showing heel tendencies. He's kind of being more tribal chiefy, if you will. And then he just kind of went, nope, I'm going to tag team with my brother again, and we're going to go after the tag team titles. And he was just kind of doing the Usos thing for a little while now. And then I guess when the timing was right, they just kind of went right back to doing that with Jey Uso again. And this time it feels forced. And this time it feels like, let's talk about the segment. Let's just talk about the segment because Roman Reigns was in the ring. Roman Reigns was going to just leave the ring. He was going to just leave the ring again and not attack CM Punk until Jey called him by his government name and said, no, you know what to do. Take him out. So now Roman's taking orders from Jey Uso all of a sudden? Is that what's happening here?
That I thought was the most bizarre part of the segment. We talked about it last week, how there needed to be some physicality, and they did it, and it did make the segment better. But the way they got there was so clanky. Jey Uso's ordering Roman. Roman wasn't going to touch Punk. We're now 2 weeks after him saying what he said about his dad, which seemingly has pissed off Jey Uso specifically more than Roman, who you'd think would have taken some offense to the comment. He was kind of cool until Jey worked him up, and then I don't understand it. I'm not even sure. Again, my complaint last week, Roman wants to be world champion. I don't know. That really still hasn't been explained. It's just clear he doesn't like Punk, but not enough to fight him without Jey Uso peer pressuring him to do so.
It really feels like a going through the motions situation with
Yeah.
Roman Reigns. He is the most apathetic character on any wrestling show right now. He is apathetic. He doesn't really give a crap. And it's clear in his promos. It's clear in his work. It's clear in his trot to the ring. The only thing that looks good was the spear. That's the only thing that looked good. The spear was fine. I thought he should have did more. Should have been more brutal.
And
it wasn't.
You know, the last thing, and then Rob, I'll let you go. But the last thing, you know, he puts Punk through the table, and then Punk's laughing. Like, it seems like the dynamic they're trying to do is they're trying to like egg each other on to be hotheads. The problem with that is that between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, there's one hothead, CM Punk. CM Punk's the one that had the fight backstage. CM Punk's the one that's been gone from one company, fired from another company. Roman Reigns doesn't have this track record. So him laughing after Roman Reigns kicks his ass, it's not the same dynamic. I don't know why we're supposed to look at Roman Reigns like this guy that's on the edge of flipping out. We've never seen that over the course of the last 12 years that this guy has been on top. He's pretty much been behind people and just kind of a calm, wins his matches character.
I would have been much rather happier with Jay and Jimmy beating the crap out of CM Punk. And I've been saying for 2 weeks, Roman Reigns just beat the crap out of this guy. And when it finally happened, I was like, you beat the crap out of him because your cousin, who's been your underling this whole time, told you to? It sucked. It absolutely sucked. And then, again, Punk got put through a table, and he's just laughing like, we're not even selling the fact that Roman Reigns is a viable – he's not an opponent.
Yeah.
Like, he literally beat the crap out of you, and you're laughing about it.
Yeah, and here's my other problem, just based off what you just said, that he beat the crap out of him. He beat him up. Matt Cardona got the crap beat out of him.
True.
And that happened 3 days earlier. Matt Cardona got the crap beat out of him. CM Punk got beat up a little.
But
He got put through a table. Okay, I've seen Michael Cole get put through a table. Then again, he's laughing about it. So he didn't even beat him up that bad. Obviously, he's laughing, which the way Bob put that didn't really register to me, because when he was laughing, I took it as you gave me your best shot and you got nothing on me. That's the way I took it. I didn't really take it as, oh, I egged you on. This is hilarious. I didn't take it that way. So again, here we are, and this is two people who watch the show every week, and we are seeing it from two different lenses, and they're both bad.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem too, is that it's not clear what's going on.
And I agree with Bob. Roman doesn't want to be champion. Roman doesn't even want to be on TV. Roman does not care. He does not care. And
he's apathetic. Yeah.
Right. Like, how am I supposed to feel about this? The guy has already said, I'd rather be a good father than a great wrestler.
That's great. That's very
great. I'm happy that Joe Anoa'i wants to be a great father. I want Roman Reigns to be a great wrestler. And I know that sounds insane to people who don't understand wrestling, but you need to understand that.
Well,
like,
I have kids as well. I have to show up to work every day.
Right.
Every day. And guess what? I still do a pretty goddamn good job when I'm at home.
Exactly.
So,
and you know, why did he enter the Royal Rumble in the first place? I don't understand. It wasn't like
that was my point from when we were doing the predictions for the Royal Rumble. That was my point.
Yeah.
And here we are, and we're getting the poster heard around the world. We're getting the poster heard around the world. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what musical performance they bring in. That's the excitement for WrestleMania. Yeah, but anyway, I mean, hey, we are 3 weeks from WrestleMania, so hopefully it continues to take shape. We're a little skeptical on our interest, that's for sure, but you know, it's WWE, and I'm sure they're going to do the best they can over the last 3 weeks. But anyway, we'll follow up with this next week. Hopefully we see Gunther on the show. Hopefully we see some like blood or something from this Roman Punk feud.
Cody will
Hopefully
be back, so maybe Stone Cold Randy Orton will kick his ass again.
Yeah. Hopefully we see Randy Orton win the title at WrestleMania. I'm not even sure what I'm hopeful for in AEW because based off of what the things that are on the show, I could be like, hopefully Marina Shafir wins a match, but I'm not really sure. So anyway, we'll see how they develop. And until then, enjoy your wrestling.
We are marks. Bob brought the